Today on the AI Daily Brief headlines, some naming and timing changes for OpenAI hardware, some leadership shifts at xAI, and much, much more. Welcome back to the AI Daily Brief Headlines Edition, all the daily AI news you need in around 5 minutes. We got some new court filings around OpenAI, and it appears their AI device or devices are still over a year away. One thing we learned around the Super Bowl ads is that the OpenAI hoax revealed that a lot of people are kind of hankering for their first look at the Johnny Ive designed device. However, it still seems like those folks have a lengthy wait to get their hands on it, according to declarations filed by OpenAI General Manager Peter Welander. The filings came in an ongoing trademark lawsuit over the IO branding. Welander said that OpenAI had since decided not to use the IO name in any of their naming or marketing. The filing also spelled out the release schedule for the device, stating that it won't be available for sale until the end of February 2027. It also noted that no packaging or marketing materials have been prepared at this stage. Welander previously said that the device could be unveiled and marketed as soon as the second half of this year, but it now seems like we're looking at 2027. Now, I hesitate to even call this a delay. Any idea that it was coming in 2026 always seemed wildly ambitious to me, but that is the latest word. Next up, some big changes at xAI, although the extent to which you think it's drama versus just the normal course of working with Elon is a little bit in the eye of the beholder. The short of it is that a number of key researchers and even founders have recently walked out xAI's door. Tony Wu announced his resignation from xAI in an early morning X post on Tuesday. He thanked the team for, quote, all those battles we have fought together. In terms of what's next, he wrote, it's time for my next chapter. In an era with full possibilities, a small team armed with AIs can move mountains and redefine what's possible. Wu also thanked Elon Musk for believing in the mission and for the ride of a lifetime. That evening, another co-founder, Jimmy Ba, said he was also finishing up. He posted, last day at xAI. xAI's mission to push humanity up the Kardashev tech tree. Grateful to have helped co-found at the start. AI researcher Roland Gavrilescu also added his name to the departure list, vague posting that he was, quote, building something new with others that left xAI. A little later, multimodal AI researcher Han Gao announced that he was leaving now that Grok Image 1.0 had shipped. One ex-user scrubbed the platform and came up with 15 total resignation announcements over the past week. Where this leaves the company is that 6 of the 12 co-founders have now left, with 5 of the departures in the past year. The question is this a response to the global regulatory concerns that xAI is dealing with around the world? Is it a response to the SpaceX merger? Is it just the normal course of working with someone as highly capable, but also you gotta think not that easy to work for as Elon Musk? In a now deleted tweet, satirical poster Satya Nadella criticized Musk for driving away top AI talent. Musk responded that he wasn't concerned, saying, there are very few regretted departures. We are accelerating faster than any other AI organization on Earth, despite being a much smaller team. Nadella, who was subsequently suspended for X after this, fired back. My point was, you are no longer attracting top talent. Everyone knows that the best AI researchers are not at xAI. Top talent needs an honorable vision, not be a soldier in my empire, let's make unhinged grok and be edgy on Twitter. The Information's Theo Waite discussed the departures in terms of Musk's reputation as a very demanding boss. He suggested the 2 co-founders might have been pushed out after Musk grew frustrated with delays on the new Grok model, adding, I expect Wu and Ba may not be the last senior xAI staffers to exit in the coming weeks. Wade continued, to be sure, the frequent turnover of executives at Musk's companies isn't new. xAI and Tesla both lost a significant number of important executives last year too. Musk's defenders would say that constantly kicking employees to the curb pushes those left to work harder. But at some point, constant turnover catches up with companies. Not only do they lose institutional knowledge, a company's reputation also starts to weigh on new hiring. Yes, there are a hardcore of Musk acolytes who would still work for him, but there has to be a good number of engineers and salespeople who take the view that life's too short to deal with Musk. I swear, as someone who watches this every day, there is no news that is harder to cover and analyze than anything having to do with Elon Musk. The number of people who can honestly say that they are objective about anything having to do with Elon is at this point vanishingly small. So buyer beware, make of what you will from this. Ultimately, what's going to matter for Grok is how good the next model is and how well Elon does with all these company integrations. Next up, our latest update on the SaaS apocalypse. The blood in the streets has moved to financials as Wall Street starts selling anything that AI might disrupt, which, as all of you know, is everything, so this could get worse before it gets better. Tuesday's installment of the AI market meltdown was courtesy of a new tax management tool from a startup called Altruist. Now, the way that some folks are characterizing this company is a little disingenuous. Altruist is an 8-year-old company that provides asset custody services and portfolio management software for independent investment advisors. They added an AI platform called Hazel to their offering last year. Their latest feature is an AI tax advisor that can generate strategies for an advisor's clients based on reading their account statements and meeting notes. Altruist currently has around 5,700 customers, which is actually around a third of all independent advisors in the US, and enough to make them the third largest platform serving the industry. The trigger for the sell-off was reporting that some advisors are switching away from most established custody platforms. These headlines were enough to drive stock in Charles Schwab, Raymond James Financial, and LPL Financial down by more than 7% each. Opinions on this one were a little mixed. Some saw genuine disruption on the horizon, with Dennis Stock Trader Network commenting, "Looks like it could potentially disrupt some of the real brokerages. That's why the stocks are selling off here right now." Bloomberg intelligence analyst Neil Sipes argued that the sell-off had more to do with pricing power, stating that investors are, in his words, likely centering on concerns around efficiencies being competed away, fee compression long-term, and potential market share shifts. Others think we're at the point that Wall Street is selling first and asking questions later, with John Belton of Gabelli Funds commenting, "Every company with any sort of potential disruption risk is getting sold indiscriminately." Now, what's interesting is that as the death of software narrative matures, so too does the thinking around the actual nature of the disruption. Last week, investors were weighing up the feasibility of companies vibe coding their own CRM platform, or figuring out whether Google's Genie 3 world model was about to undercut the entire gaming industry. This leg is less about long-term speculation on AI fundamentally changing an industry, and instead about a rising startup actively winning business away from incumbents by launching AI features. Altruist CEO Jason Wang said that while he was surprised by the scale of the sell-off, he thought it made sense directionally. He commented, "It's dawning on people. This architecture we're using to build Hazel, it can replace any job in wealth management. Usually these jobs are done by entire teams, and they'll be done with AI effectively for $100 a month." For my money, it feels as though all of Wall Street has come to the same realization about AI more generally over the past few weeks. While it is absolutely clear that many of these moves have been significantly exaggerated, there's a sense that investors are trying to figure out the implications of truly useful AI being deployed across the entire economy. Will Rind, the CEO of Granite Shares Advisors, said, "I have no idea what's next. The story from last year was we all believe in AI, but we're searching for the use case. And when we keep discovering the use cases that seemingly are more and more powerful and more compelling, it's now leading to disruption." So all in all, the SaaS-pocalypse debate continues, but for now, that is going to do it for the headlines. Next up, the main episode.